Too bad. Move a little bit over. Hi, Dave. How's it going? Uh, oh, hey, Dave. You said those 6x8s. There was a few hundred in Helena, and what was the price on those? As I recall, it was a little less than $2 each. If I'm not mistaken. Hey, David. Okay. If you could send me a phone number or something, email me or whatever, that would be cool. $2 a piece. Okay. And anyhow, Eva's talking to her son in the restroom right now because it's a confidential conversation. So you'll just have to wait, Chris. Really not sure, Dave. I'd probably wind up getting 10 or 20 or something like that. I mean, might as well make a decent load out of it. And I can always just kind of stockpile them. I got up at the mystery dump, I've got a tunnel I want to shore as I go. Hey, Tricky. And I can, just cut trees there. There's lots of dead trees and stuff I can cut for posts, but it would be nice to have flat caps and everything. But we could just, I mean, unless you just want to get rid of them, uh, I'm sure the claim owner would be happy to buy them. But whatever, as I just, if they're pretty good, so I was thinking to just, buy some for next spring. There also the diagram behind me shows an idea I had, and I'm getting down as you. For those of you who watched the last video, realize I'm starting to get pretty close to the breakthrough. 1 or 2 weekends from now, I should be able to actually break through. This is the existing decline and stuff. Actually, this wall's a little bit farther away. It goes out there. Sounds good, Dave. This is the ladder track here and the new decline wall. And in a week or two, I should be to where I've got like 3 feet here. And so this, I'm not sure how long it's going to be. It looks like this angle here is shallower than this angle here, so that the work area is going to get bigger. My thought is it would be nice to just place these timbers before I take out the rock, because it's just a lot easier to dig sockets in the walls when you're using a Hilti from above and things like that. This one would probably have to go, but I could leave potentially if there's not ore in it, and this here I need to break through order to get access. As long as this opening is comfortable to lower the carriage and lower yourself through, there's no reason that this rock here couldn't be left there. From underneath looking up, this does not have much visible, good looking ore. It's kind of this black, hard rock. And so I'm thinking just leave that in place. Go out here, lay another one in open space, and then I can deck on top of this in the future to work on. If I want to take this out, I can. But this, actually, yes, I've got it too close here. It's actually more like way out here. Okay. They were mining here. They weren't just advancing. So my thought is leave a pillar here if there's no good ore in it. It'll give extra strength. Punch through, extend the ladder track down to here, where we could, hoist from there. And that would be good enough. Just go ahead and leave this if there's not much ore in it. This area right here currently has a big pile of stuff, debris, pack rat, midden, all kinds of stuff just been coming down. We're going to take some bleach, spray all this at the end of this weekend when we're done, and let all that do its thing over the week. Come back, and when I make this breakthrough here, then I can start digging this out, clean this off. Down here, it looked like they were going well below the track level after stuff. So see what this part of the vein looks like at this point, hopefully before the end of the season. That's kind of our goal. And let's see. Hey, Red Wing. Admiral, we have enough cable to get to there. The biggest problem getting even out to here may be just the wire for the extension cords, because we're going to be really at the end of the 100 feet of 10 gauge extension cord that we've got. And I say it's need a buck boost. Not sure what that means, Brian. Oh, we might go to if we go any deeper than this, we're either going to have a step up, step down system, or get a better place to put it in. And there is no better place close enough easy to get that generator. Okay. And so we're going to I say that may be what we need to do. I'm really hoping that we can, this area right here should be doable, because currently the end of the extension cord would come to about here, and then the cord on the Hilti should be enough. It's got a pretty long cord on it to here. Now, if I want to run 480 or 600 volts, I have to do a step up, step down. That I have no idea, Chris. I haven't researched it. And so I'm really not sure. I also am thinking that for just this extra 10 feet, um, a short 10 gauge extension cord, if all I need to do is just get to here, uh, okay, if I'm running number 10 copper, I should be able to go about 200 feet. Okay. According to Hilti, they say 10 gauge extension cord no more than 100 feet. Are they just being, shall we say, overly cautious to make sure people don't burn their crap up by, oh, I'll just go 12 gauge or I'll go, okay. Well, in that case, I can easily just get another 50-foot extension cord, and that would be more than anything I need to go. Hey, Mr. Lodak. So I say I'd like to get hole punch through here, this cleaned off, and expose the ore structure here. Um, cool, Graham. Yeah, I've got 10 gauge cords, you know, and it pulls like 15 amps or something like that. It's pretty good. Yeah, it's not 23 amps. It's like 10, 15 amps maybe. So, yeah, I say I should be able to get away with it if I need, I guess. So that's reassuring. Thank you very much. And I say, hopefully, I'll get the breakthrough down here, get this cleared off. I can put these things in later if I just put a hole right here. And yeah, I've never had that happen, but okay. I have one spot where the exterior jacket is kind of separated from the plug on one of the cords, so I can actually get I don't know what you call it, induction meter or whatever, but an amp meter, has a little closable tongs around one of the um, conductors, and I could actually see how much amperage it's pulling, you know. So I've got a kilowatt. I could probably plug the kilowatt into a multi-tap here, then run the extra extension cord um, to the Hilti and run the Hilti without the extra extension cord. Okay, so you need to measure it at the plug, huh? Okay. Now, will the kilowatt transmit that kind of amperage, or would I have to have like a multi-tap at the generator so the kilowatt is plugged into one and the load is plugged into another tap? Would that be the appropriate way to do that to determine the voltage drop? Because I do have a kilowatt and I could certainly do any of these things. I just want to know. Yeah, I'm thinking just use a multi-tap at the generator. So the kilowatt is parallel to the load, and that way it just keeps going. Well, that's why I was saying. I was thinking put it at the other end, put the kilowatt at the user end and see what the voltage is there. Okay, so let's see. This is fun here. Yeah, Brian, where would you measure the voltage at? I don't know if they make a 25-foot cord. Let me see. Home Depot. Home Depot 10 gauge. Goodness gracious. Come on. Come on. 10 gauge extension cord. Let's see. 10 foot, 10.3, $20. 100 foot, 10 foot, 12.3. 25 foot, 10 gauge. That's $55. Or 10 foot for $20. So I could buy two 10 footers for the price of a 25. I think one 10 footer will get me all I need to do, at least for this thing here. Ten gauge roll max. Okay. Oh, they're heavy. That doesn't surprise me, Lars. Um, well, one of the fun things about this is Romex. Okay, I thought you said Roll Max. Yeah, you did. Roll Max. That's why I got you. Yeah, 10 gauge Romex. Among other things, you don't have the potential voltage drop of the connections. You know, uh, the problem with Romex, everything that I put up there, I got to tear down every trip. Real pain in the butt. It takes about 3 hours to set up and tear down. Very annoying. And 500 miles, huh? I put in a bit, but nowhere near 500 miles. Yeah, it's one of those things that, sure, if you're putting it in, a dedicated line, sure. The other question you have, how badly do the pack rats like to chew on Romex? One of the reasons that I take all the cords home. I've got a little drop light cord that I leave there. Everything else comes home every night, every trip, and that's my thought, Brian. And so I went and even when I'm just leaving my Hilti underground, I'll put it in the case. The case is a lot lighter to carry up and down. So I put it in the case. That way they don't chew on it. It would really annoy me to get up there in the morning to get back to work and some freaking pack rat has chewed its way through the wiring on that thing. Well, you can get Romex direct burial. The connections aren't going to be watertight, but the wire itself is watertight. Would it be legal? Probably not. Yeah. THA. Yeah, if you're gonna run some kind of conduit, yeah, just go with the THN. THHN. NMB is not water resistance. I agree, but I think it's Romex UF. Uh, yeah, if you're going to put in a permanent installation, that would probably be the best way because you would also be protecting it from the pack rats. If you were to go, I'm sure it's not, Chris. But if you were to put EMT uh, um, conduit, say down the decline, and then a place for the generator on certain. In this case, is say getting the generator near the the portal is it's as close as it can get right now without a lot of extra effort, you know. And so if you were to have something fairly close, hi shiny rocks. If you're having the, if you could put your generator say 10 or 15 feet away from the portal and have a good connection inside the mine, weatherproof outlet, so to speak, with a say a 20-foot 14 gauge, wire, and then run down the decline to another, there you go with the standard 3-prong outlet, you know. Imshaw is a small city outside of Calexico. I'm trying to think. I don't think there's anything that sounds anything like that. Lars? Hi, Jeff. How's it going? So, and Jeff, while we're at it, about you coming up here next, for next season, that sounds great. I'd like you to consider what options might be beneficial in the meantime. I've been working for someone up here for a couple of years. He's been spending money. He hasn't been getting anything back. And I'd like to work out something that's mutually beneficial between you two, maybe me as a go-between, and get some money here. But I say at least one situation where he makes some return on his investment if he doesn't make it off of something we're working on, and so just have that kind of in your back of your mind. Custom milling, things like that. Right now it's not cold at all, Tricky Dicky. It is, let's see, what's the temperature, little one? Oh, let me just look outside.
It is 48.
It's 48 degrees Fahrenheit, which is above 0 centigrade. It's actually quite pleasant right now. Eva was pretty cold up on the mountain on Saturday, primarily because of the wind. It was just really windy. It was probably, I'm guessing, somewhere in the low 40s, and wind in excess of 20 miles an hour. And it was just brutal on her. We had a fireplace right there, did absolutely no good whatsoever.
Yeah, the wind was blowing the wrong way.
Let's see. What did you say it was, little one?
It's 46 degrees right now.
46 degrees. F2C. 46. 7.7 Celsius or centigrade or whatever you want to call it.
Well, I would have guessed 8.
It's actually, it's a fairly pleasant right now, but we don't know how long that's going to last. I'd say hopefully it'll last like another 3 weekends, and we'll be able to basically accomplish the task we want here before end of season. You know, if I can get this done before end of season, then we'll have done a pretty good job closing up the open stuff before we get shut out. We're going to go out to the ranch tomorrow. We're going to pump solution up onto the pad to get more evaporation. We're trying to bring down the pond level for winter. May Noble, and at the same time, I'll be crushing and screening and stuff this load that we got this weekend and stockpiling it by the Stoughton Roth. And then Eva will be monitoring the stripping circuit. That's another interesting observation to all you leaching guys out there. We were stripping a batch of resin, a cartridge. And yeah, we're working on it, honey bunny. The cartridge was getting close to the end in terms of there's not a whole lot of gold coming off of it. But it wasn't done yet, so we just turned it off and left it in there. We took the electrolytic cell apart, cleaned the gold out of it so it couldn't redissolve or anything like that, and left it there for like a week or two while we waited for the Arctic to move out and some snow to melt and everything. And then we went back, and when we fired that stripper back up, it was really cranking out the gold. I'm thinking that perhaps if you have your resin bead here, it's real easy to strip the outside of it, but the stuff inside takes longer to migrate out. So I would suggest we've got some used resin and stuff here. We'll be doing some tests later on. Right now, we're racing the snow to get what we can before that happens. And but you may want to plan, if you're stripping resin, to strip it until you stop getting gold, and then just leave it sitting in stripping solution for a week or two, and then see what you can get out of it.
Even more if the stripping solution had been hotter.
Don't know.
When it was being stored.
Column leach. Okay. Column.
Columnar basalt.
Okay, let me write a note here. Okay, I got a note down. Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking. We've got as far as I know, it's perfectly legal to use a sluice box in Montana. Anyone? It'd be nice if Jim was on right now. Does anyone know for certain? How about you, Dave? I presume by that they mean just right in a stream. Just like what Jason does at Flower Gold Wizards. As far as I know, it's perfectly legal in Montana, but I haven't really researched it. I don't know. There's a number of things we're testing or planning to do this winter, and it could be forbidden in certain ones. I don't know. There's always places where breathing is off limits, but I don't know. If nobody comes up with an answer, I can try and there you go. There's Dave. That's his input on this. He seems to be pretty familiar with the local regulations. I would imagine there's some place where somebody's got a rule that says you can't do it for some bizarre reason. But in general, I know they're pretty loose here. My goodness, it is so nice. I was checking what the rules were, and alcohol, I'm sure, not a problem, Lars. You just can't drive afterwards. You have to give it some time. But I was checking the rules in Montana here with respect to firearms, and because we go to the state capitol on a fairly common basis several times a year, I seem to recall the last time we were there was a sign, no weapons allowed or something like this. In Arizona, government buildings, they have to take your weapons. You go to security, you turn over your weapon. While you're in the building, you're unarmed. But the argument that was used was that you needed to get from the parking lot to the building, and in that time period, you're vulnerable. So if you left your gun in the vehicle, you'd be defenseless on that time period. So that's what it was. So I called up and I asked the state capitol here, and according to someone fairly high up on the food chain, just if you're openly packing, you can just walk right in, go to the security desk and say, "Hey, I've got a gun with me." And they go, "Okay." And he said, "You're not really required to do that, but it keeps," if somebody says, "Hey, I saw a guy with a gun," they go, yeah, it's okay, we've seen." It's like, wow, that's really relaxed. But so be it. And anyhow, so they're pretty relaxed on most stuff here. Their fish and game regulations are complex, but that's because it's a big state. There's lots of different kinds of game, lots of different kinds of rocks, etc. Fish, not rocks. They got lots of rocks here too. But anyhow, so there's some regulations, but they're not terribly onerous. It's just, 300 miles from here, the situation changes, so we need new rules. Exactly, Chris. How is it going, Jim? Why aren't you here? Your fans are out there. They're chanting in their seats. Minor Jim, Minor Jim. And I can't do anything. I'm just not you, Jim. recovering from being sick or recovering from the season? Oh. And one thing about being out in the field a lot and pretty much just sick, very sick, huh? That's not good. If you need any help on something, you know where I live. You know my phone number. You know, I can stack firewood and such. But I say, just let me know if you need help. So, because Eva's basically the only one I really spend much time with. Okay. So we don't really get that sick that often. I'm moving to Henderson. Yeah, a lot of these western states are pretty relaxed. So,
Was the post office on Last Chance Gulch?
yes, the post office is on Last Chance Gulch. Absolutely. So, anyhow, are you still here, Lauren? Have you taken off yet? I know you were going to zip on over uh, to the east for a little bit and then come back. Uh, Grizzly bears or rattlesnakes? Well, so far I haven't seen any grizzly bears, but I have seen rattlesnakes. I think it's legal to conceal carry without a permit, but not in the Capitol building. If you want to carry concealed in the Capitol, I think you have to have a permit, but you can open carry without one. Wednesday, possibly, huh? I don't know. It gets dark pretty early. We might be able to head over to Lauren's house tomorrow evening to deliver that. Hello, people in Elk Point, South Dakota.
Hello, Elk Point, South Dakota.
Anyhow, yeah, we got that package to deliver for you there, Lauren. So if we have time tomorrow evening, do you want us to come over? You want us to wait till you get back? Just let me know. A lot of people like concealed carry simply so the bad guys don't know who has a gun so they don't get shot at first. Hell yeah, I presume that means bring it on over. You betcha. Yeah, if you're going to be around a lot of rattlesnakes, a really good thing to carry is a revolver with rat shot. Don't try it in a semi automatic, it doesn't cycle worth a crap. How much sand do you have, Jake? You said it's got microfine gold, but it makes a big difference as to how much you have. Do you have tons and tons of it, or half a bucket, or what? Well, yeah, but as impressive as you look, one could certainly understand that, honey bunny. Shiny rocks, for that, go to I Break for Bedrock, Brake. Those guys do a lot of dry washing. I have done very little. Okay, Jake, for that, to start with, my hand panning technique works just fine. Have you seen my videos on that? If not, I can go look up a link. But I say it if you're just looking at a small quantity, especially if you're trying to get a good idea of how much is in it, it works pretty well. As a production thing, yeah, my uh, hardmuck@outlook.com. Here's my email. If you can send me a picture to that, I'll take a look at it. Let me know when you've sent it, and I'll go ahead and look at it. Yeah, the if again, what is microfine? And to determine actual particle sizes, where's our microscope, little one? Do you have that?
Yes, at the lab.
We already had one at the lab.
Yeah, I have at least one at the lab. I think both of them ended up there by accident.
Oh, dearie. Should never have two of them. Didn't you have one in your backpack or something? Didn't we put one there for some?
Come to think of it, we did. Let me check my backpack.
Okay.
It may have landed in my black backpack instead. No, it landed in my black backpack with everything else.
Black backpack? Okay.
Yeah, the one that you insisted on me getting.
Okay, so on the list. Anyhow, it's a little bigger than this. This is the light for it, but it looks a lot similar. It just clips into this thing. It's about that big. And it's a little pen microscope that the one I've got is 40 power, and it has a reticle in it, so you can actually look and measure the size of the particles. And it's just like holding a ruler next to something. It's very, very handy to that light actually is kind of marginal, honey bunny. It just doesn't have enough light. That's the problem with having a small battery. It's inadequate in my opinion. But the whole idea is to Jake is to get a good picture with the particles in it, measure against that, and then you use a chart. I've got one on the wall here. You can find them on the internet. It's a mesh to micron conversion chart that also has thousandths of an inch. So for example, if I'm looking under my little microscope and I see a particle that's 5 thousandths of an inch, it's 0.005, 5 thousandths of an inch is right around 120 mesh. And if I see one that's 1,000th of an inch, it's 550 mesh. Pretty easy. Ooh, shiny. They have huge differences in what they do. The MD20 will spot very small gold at a very short distance, like this. The Gold Bug 2 has a search coil like this and sees to a fairly good depth, but it's going to be limited to something more of that size. There you go. Oops, wrong way. It's the easiest way. There we go. Something about that size at maybe 4 to 6 inches. Okay. And so are you like going over a vein or an ore dump or something like that, trying to find the occasional serious hit, but you're moving quickly? The other one, and say the Falcon, is just for very, very small stuff at very, very close distances. Okay. Let me go and get to my email. Well, it's been a few days. Who knows what's on it? Now, let's see. I haven't looked at it since we came back from the field. I think Honey Bunny sent me something she mentioned. Okay, there you are, Jake. First of all, that's a pile of gold. Okay. Look at that little one.
I'm coming.
That is a pile of gold in a pan.
That's one heck of a thick smile right there. I'm looking up in the ridges.
Yeah, it's just every. I would say you're probably got, I don't know, what would you say, 5 or 10 grams there roughly?
I'd say at least 5.
Yeah, that's my guess. So that is a lot of gold.
Mm-hmm.
And well, let's
Good looking.
find the other thing here. How much did you get that from? How much raw material did you get that from? I agree with Chris completely there on that, Shiny. Yeah, we're doing great, Secret Creek. Yep. Getting caught up here. You take care, Tricky. Hug the kitties.
Hug the babies, Tricky.
So anyhow, Jake, question is, how much did you get that out of? How much material did it take to get that much gold? Because that's a lot of gold. Okay. And that you could take that. I don't call that microfine, by the way. That's really good.
That's freaking coarse compared to what we usually get.
Okay, let's see. Let me check this again just to be sure. No, that doesn't look like biotite. Yeah, it looks like gold to me. With that amount of gold, first of all, it's extremely, biotite is not magnetic either. It's a kind of mica, and it looks kind of like gold when the light's reflecting off it at a particular angle, but not at others. So if you have a pile of it in one place, it's not all going to be shining gold, and that's pretty much all shining gold. So it looks like that looks like gold to me. I can't be certain without looking at it personally, but say by telling me how much material you process to get that, it also gives me a much better idea of what to do. But if you've got tons of that, and if you got that amount of gold from a bucket or less, it's extremely rich. Okay. You're talking basically bonanza grade material. Okay. The methods of determining whether or not that's actually gold, there's a couple of things that say you can take it and heat. If you got a furnace, just smelt it. Take a sample, weigh it, smelt it, weigh the bead. If it was something else, it ain't going to wind up at the end of the smelt. Um, but another thing is gold is malleable. It'll bend, it'll dent, it'll things like that. And it could be brass. Looking at it, it could be clean brass. If you got it out of sand, it's kind of unlikely. Brass tends to oxidize pretty quickly.
Exposing it to
Yeah, I could see that. It looks like the gaps are kind of filled with silt and stuff.
exposing it to acid.
Okay. Um, I'm trying to do something really simple, little one, for someone who doesn't have all that stuff. Yeah, well, there's another couple of $1,000, and I don't have an air compressor to haul up there either, Brian. I say I don't have a hammer or anything. How do you get the silt out? Well, you can pan and repan. If you're tapping, the gold will come up to the top and the other stuff will tend to go down. And you can play some tapping techniques that will get you some pretty clean gold in that crack, and then suck it out with a sniffer bottle and then do it again, to get to really good. Okay, Secret, I don't need it at this time though, but thank you. But if you have the capability and all you're worried about is gold, just smelt it down. Just put it in a crucible with appropriate flux and smelt it down. Now, before you do that, it might be a good idea to give it a bath in, as Chris says, hot nitric acid, just to dissolve everything else that is soluble. You're still going to have some silica and stuff, but the flux will take care of that. What you're trying to get rid of is any other metals like copper or zinc.
Or silver.
If you have any nitric acid handy, take one of those flakes, put some nitric acid on it. Certainly, Jake. And when you do, I've had this happen to me a couple of times where there's been some brass. You put a chunk of brass like a bullet casing through an impact mill, and it turns into this really fractal gold shiny stuff. And you just look at it and say, well, that's a lot. I wasn't expecting anywhere near that. Put a little nitric on it. If it's gold, nothing will happen. If it's brass, it's going to go crazy. It'll start fizzing really quick. Let me give you my physical address. Well, my postal address. 1783, right?
Yeah.
Five nine 6 2 2 4, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. If you want to send me a small sample to that, there, a pound or so is adequate. Oh yeah, that a lot of times the where you're getting stuff like old mine dumps and stuff, people have shot into them. You may have old casings, you may have lots of bullets, things like that. So when you start getting a lot of metal out of a mine dump in your, when you're running a gravity concentration on ground up rock, that's the sort of thing where, immediately suspect bullet contamination.
Yeah, you saw that one time.
Honey Bunny says, put any kind of ammonia on brass and it will instantly turn copper red. Okay. So anyhow, I say that's something that's easy to do and will tell really quickly. I say I'll be happy to look at it and give you my uh, perspective for free. Not a problem. No problem, Jake. Sounds like a plan. So anyhow, say there's a lot of stuff there, but since you didn't run it through an impact mill, it would be odd to be brass. No, I was talking 8 gauge. I was thinking. Yeah, I was saying like 25 feet of 8 gauge from the generator to a plug receptacle. That way you can take the generator and stuff away later. And actually, I've got a 6 gauge cord to run my BuzzBox welder that's 50 feet. uh, yeah, you're going to have to recirculate that water, Shiny Rocks. Oh, I wouldn't doubt it, Honey Bunny. Yeah, that 50-foot cord cost me a mint at the time. What mesh would I suggest I run it through? Just send it to me in the raw form right now, Jake. I got my screens and everything right here, and that way, every time you do something to it, you're pretty much eliminating information. You know. Yeah, I know, Honey Bunny. That's why I got the 6 gauge cord. Um, yeah, dry washers can be pretty good. Um, those guys at I Break for Bedrock have done some pretty good job. I was with them for one little thing, and the tailings from their dry washer I couldn't pan anything out of. Okay. They weren't missing squat for fine gold. Yeah. Yeah, triple lot? Well, gee, I guess so, Honey Bunny. What's that for? A electrical service? Uh, but yeah, if we were to keep going at Montana B, we'd have to kind of upgrade for the electrical somehow. I would love to tear out some of that ore sitting at Pack Rat Penthouse, but it's holding up the back. And unfortunately, to the side extents, it's pretty much been mined out. Shiny to reuse water, just settling. Just have a big enough basin. You can go get plastic water troughs for critters that'll work pretty good as a settling basin. You can have it run into a 55-gallon drum, and there's something. Oh, it works like a door thickener, but what do you call that, Chris? Where you have the center column of material that's going down, and then it comes out and skims over the sides on the settling thing. Yeah, dry washers will work fine if the gold is coarse enough and the matrix is dry enough and suitable. They have a problem if your matrix is damp and if your gold is fine. Those are the ones that tend to make things list. What the heck is a buck boost? Buck boost. Here's an electric thing that says it's a buck boost. There's a DC to DC. Buck boost power transformers. Wow. That's clear as mud. A buck boost converter is a type of DC to DC converter that has an output voltage magnitude that is either greater than or less than the input voltage magnitude. It is equivalent to a flyback converter using a single inductor instead of a transformer. Two different topologies are called buck boost converter.
Okay, that made no sense.
As a type of DC to DC converter. Well,
why would you need a DC to DC converter?
I don't know.
That makes no sense.
It's a transformer that gives you a slight increase or decrease in voltage. Hey, Jean-Francois. So basically, you can crank up the voltage just a little bit, huh?
Bonsoir, Jean-Francois.
I agree, Shaggy. Hi, Jean-Francois. I'm just trying to task. All transformers normally is AC to AC, huh? It's when the input voltage goes above and below your target output. Yeah, Shiny, I've been paying attention. I agree completely. It can boost your voltage back to where they were. Okay. I think the generator has a 240 volt option. I could check. I know there's no selector on the Hilti that says 240 volt, but that doesn't mean it can't be. I don't know. Oh, but yeah, say we shall see. That it's nice having the the other thing I could theoretically do. Is it frequency that I've got? I think it's just frequency I've got control over on the generator. Okay, I see what you're saying. I'll have to see. Hey, Graham. Interesting, Jean-Francois. Okay, it's nice to know there's a gimmick that does that. Yeah, exactly, honey bunny.
A gimmick or a gizmo?
Gizmo.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I guess that's I squared R. So, oh, here's another question. While I got all you smart guys on the line here, we have a source of 6 by 8 by 5 foot long pressure treated wood for $2 a stick. These are for guardrails, is what they were originally for. Is there any reason not to use them for timbering in a mine? Is there any negative to that I'm aware of? Yeah. Does anyone know anything that would?
You're unaware of.
Yeah. Okay, that I'm unaware of. You're right. I am getting old. Damn.
Yeah. You're being worse than usual today. You need
Yeah.
more ketoid.
Well, how come I don't have any in the fridge? Yeah, I wouldn't want you to light it on fire, and we wouldn't be burning the things. I was thinking more for caps in the case of this Montana B middle decline. I just cut a stole this weekend to put right about here in this diagram, and it was 49 inches. I should be able to select whichever ones I want, Chris, so that shouldn't be a problem.
All right.
Probably depends on.
Where's the lemon juice?
You had it with us, and I think it should be over there, but maybe not quite in its original spot, little one.
Oh, I'm not seeing it on the counter.
I don't
I'm
know.
not seeing it on the floor.
No, I don't know.
It may still be in bugs.
No, it was here.
It's got to be here somewhere.
Right here.
Things that were with
I found it.
Thank you.
My life is saved. Yeah, I'm thinking of using it for, as a stoles here, because I can double or triple them up too. It gives you a nice flat surface to lay decking on. And in this other spot, it'd be nice for caps. The posts would need to be taller. But where I'm at up there, I've got, trees I can cut. There's around here, there's dead trees everywhere that it's national forest land. Yeah, that's what I was looking at here. It says Hilti specs no more than 100 feet of 10. Oh, anything big enough to do any good is going to be heavy. Yeah, I was thinking of like a 2-foot spacing, and then lay 2x decking on top of it. I think you'd have a heck of a platform. So that was kind of my thought process, because they're only $2 each. It's like, that's pretty cheap. And so what the heck? They're basically posts for guardrails. Well, you finally got 1/10 of a milligram scale, huh, Jean-Francois? 106 volts would be the low limit for most things. Yeah, around here there's also a lot of round lumber, just because there's trees, and they would just cut the trees and use them. 106 to 122, huh? Okay, let me see what Richard sent me. Okay, so Richard's associates here are removing something from a hole, presumably a cache from back in World War II. And they're, well, That guy's having a tough time moving that chunk of concrete there. Let's see. I would use a sledgehammer instead of a bar. But they're let's see if they ever get it open. Oh, he's whacking on it with a chisel here. And well, that's an interesting tool. Let's see. Come on. Come on. We're getting close to the end of the video. And looks to be a gold bar. Check this out, little one.
Looks awfully big.
That's probably around 40, 50 pounds of gold.
That looks awfully big.